Hi guys, I hope you're well and welcome back to my channel. As you can see from the title, today I'll be talking about my weight loss journey while using the injectable liraglutide drug Saxenda. So I'm going to include some before Saxenda pictures, some during, and some post Saxenda pictures. Not that I'm done taking it, my journey is not over. I've been on it for 8 months now and have seen incredible progress. I have lost 44 pounds in 8 months, and I'm going to tell you all about how it's going and how I did that. So basically, to start, you should know that I was always a very small girl, light, skinny, small boned, and short. So in high school, I probably leveled out at 95 pounds, and then throughout university, I probably leveled out at around 105, and I stayed at 105 well into my 30s. Now, when I reached my 30s, I developed another illness that required medication, and one of the side effects of that medication was weight gain. It just made me ravenous. I could not stop eating. I never felt full. I was always craving food, and they call it food noise with Saxenda and weight loss. When you can quiet the food noise and you're not always craving things, it can help you to get in the proper mindset to lose weight. But I was not there. I was ravenous, hungry, always eating. My portion sizes were out of control. I had family-sized everything. I could eat a whole pizza, and I did. And that led me to gain, almost 100 pounds in 3 to 4 years. So at one point I was tipping the scales at close to 200 pounds. On my little frame, it really showed, and it was affecting other areas of my health, and I was determined to be pre-diabetic. I'll put a picture in here of when I was at my heaviest. I was at 192, and that was when I said, I can't live like this anymore. My joints are hurting. I can't even go for walks without getting tired. I couldn't do anything for myself. I was just a loaf on the couch or in bed, and everything just seemed too difficult. So I was disgusted with myself. It affected my self-esteem. I stopped doing YouTube or posting pictures on Instagram because I didn't want people to see me in my current state. I was embarrassed, and I asked my doctor what we could do about it. So she said the first thing that we should do is look at my sugar levels, and that involved going to see a specialist called an endocrinologist who deals with your endocrine system and your blood sugar levels. So he sent me for a bunch of blood tests, and everything came back very high cholesterol, high blood pressure, high sugar levels. So he decided between Ozempic and Saxenda that Saxenda was gentler on the body. I don't know anything about Ozempic. It's totally different. It's called a semaglutide, and Saxenda is a liraglutide. So they are completely different, although they are injectables. Ozempic, I know you inject once a week, but Saxenda you inject daily, and I was very afraid of that, but we'll talk about how you can cope with that and overcome that pain and that daily fear. So he decided that based on my other illnesses and the state of my body and just what I could handle and how I had to keep working while taking this drug, that Saxenda was the way to go. Okay, so first things first, when you go to fill your prescription at the pharmacy, they will give you a box like this, and it contains 6 pens that you insert needles into daily, and you use a new needle every day to inject your liraglutide or your Saxenda. And so it opens like this. It has the instructions. It has 6 pens. Right now I only have 1 because I'm down to my last pen, but the pens look like this. So they're blue. They have a little counter here for however much you'll be injecting into your stomach area or your waist area, just the area that has the most fat, because that's where you want it to hit. So when you take it off, you can see there's a stopper When you wind it, it goes up and pushes the amount of your dose into your system. So you can start winding it, and you see it starts at 0.6. So that's the lowest dose, and you start at that. So you start at the lowest dose, and then every week you go up point however much. So the next one is 1.2. So they double it every week until you reach 3 milligrams. And that is the maximum dose. It's when everything's turned up all the way and you inject 3 milligrams into your body. When a pen is being used at its full capacity, 3 milligrams, it lasts 6 days. So that's why you need 5 pens to last you a month. And so you get, your box is worth 1 month of Saxenda. In the samples that they give you, which they normally will, to test out how it goes, you get these NovoFine Plus 4 millimeter injectable pens, or needles as you will. So they just open like this, and you can see there's 1 per usage. So I find these the easiest to start with because they are the finest, skinniest, shortest needles that cause the least amount of pain. As you go to the pharmacy, you'll find that you can't really get the sample size. You can get fine needles at 4 millimeters, but they're not the sample small, and so they will pinch a little bit more. And then the 6 millimeter ones, which were all that was available when I went to get mine, are very painful. Don't go 6. If you're going, try to stick at the 4 millimeter. It's shorter, it doesn't go in as deep, and it doesn't pinch as much. So that's a piece of advice for you. But I know a question everyone has is, what about side effects? What did they prepare me for? What did they not tell me about? And was a surprise to me? I'm happy to let you in on those secrets. So you always take this drug before you go to bed. You take it at night. It works with your cortisol as you're sleeping, which spikes during the night. And that's when you wake up and you feel less bloated, less puffy, and you start the day off normally. The first thing I noticed was the food noise quieted in my brain. I wasn't constantly craving food. But the second thing that was linked to me not eating food was that the second symptom or side effect of this medicine is massive nausea, like massive nausea. It wasn't all the time for me. I could go about my day pretty regularly, and then at about 4 p.m. it would hit me like a ton of bricks. I'd have to put myself to bed. I was so nauseous. I never really brought up, it's not like bulimia in a needle, but I definitely felt like I was going to bring up the whole time. And that lasted until I fell asleep. So from 4 p.m. till 10 or 11 p.m., you know, a third of the day, you're out of commission. You can't do anything. If you're a busy mom, it's something to consider because you will not be able to make dinner, play with your kids, put them to bed without really feeling like you're going to be sick. So that's something to take into consideration. For me, it lasted 3 to 4 months. So during those first 3 to 4 months is when I lost the most amount of weight. So 25 to 30 pounds came off in that first 3 to 4 months. I was thrilled, but at what cost, right? I was missing all my evenings and kind of suffering, I would say. Not enough to contact the doctor and say, I'm concerned, is this normal? I knew it was based on how they explained it to me and what would happen. But I didn't expect the nausea to go on for months and months. And it was every day like clockwork at 4 p.m. I'd have to lie in bed, watch YouTube, watch TV, stream stuff, and that's all I could handle. So another side effect of this drug was that it gave me an energy boost. I don't know if it's fake adrenaline or what's in it, but I felt energized enough to get up off the couch, to get out of bed, to exercise, get active, go on walks. Don't let people tell you that just walking when you have something like PCOS or a thyroid issue or a blood sugar issue is all you need to do to lose the weight. Because before this was happening, before I was on Saxenda, I was doing 20,000 steps a day and still my weight was climbing. So if it is a blood sugar issue, if it's PCOS, like there are things that you need to help you lose weight. This isn't the easy way, like I think Oprah called it, using Ozempic is the easy way out. No, it's about your health. And if you have blood sugar issues and are pre-diabetic, curing the diabetes or curing what could cause your diabetes will greatly reduce illnesses in the future and at a higher age. So if I can reduce my risk of getting diabetes now by reducing my weight and my blood sugar levels, I'm going to do that for positive effects on my health down the road. So with this new energy surge, I was able to be more active at work. I was able to feel more productive, complete more, get back to filming, get back to taking photos, doing my hobbies, reading. Everything that I had felt really sluggish and depressed about missing out on was now becoming a part of my life again because of this energy that I had been given from the daily Saxenda injections. So one negative side effect was the nausea. One positive side effect was the energy boost. I have another negative side effect that nobody warned me about, and it was a complete shock, and I had to Google it and ask everyone I knew who was on the same drug, ask my endocrinologist, and ask my hairdresser even, because I lost 44 pounds in 7 months. That's considered a lot very quickly. And my hair started falling out. And I don't just mean a little bit of shedding here and there. I mean, in the shower when it was wet and heavy, it was coming out in clumps. I was so scared. I didn't understand why it was going on. I didn't make the connection at first that it could be because of the Saxenda, because I'd been on it and had passed the nausea stage. So now I was in month 5, month 6. But apparently it's normal. Your body is shedding nutrients, you're eating less, you're not getting as many vitamins to your hair and nails. So I read that and have researched that once you plateau and reach your goal weight, in about 6 months to a year, your hair will start to return. Now I have a lot of fine hair, so I have it to lose and people don't really notice. I do. My ponytail is a lot thinner than it used to be. But my hairdresser noticed and I noticed. So if you have thin, fine hair or short hair or not a lot of hair to lose, this might be a side effect that really does affect you and your self-esteem, and that you might have to rethink or be careful of, or just keep in touch with your hairdresser about how you can keep your hair healthy during the time that you're on Saxenda. So I'll insert a picture of me now, which is 44 pounds down, and I'm still, several pounds away from my goal weight, but I'm much happier with how I look. I feel I'm more mid-size than plus size. So the positive upswing of being on Saxenda has really positively impacted my self-esteem and how I feel about putting myself together, putting a look together, going out. It's made shopping easier. I don't have to go to the plus size sections of stores and have such limited options. I'm able to kind of fit back into regular size, mid-size, and feel a little bit better about that. The first place that I noticed my weight loss was around my face. So I had a really puffy face, I had a double chin, and that was, I still have a bit of one, like if you go like this, everybody has one, I suppose, but I lost the real chubbiness around my face, and that's where I really started to see the first impressions of that. I lost it around inches around my gut, and my behind as well became smaller. Now, for me, the last place I've been losing weight is my breasts, and that is very frustrating because I don't want to have a breast reduction because it leaves quite impactful scars that don't go away, and I just don't think that I could look in the mirror nude and feel good about myself with that much scarring. So I really want them to shrink on their own, and I don't understand because they are just sacks of fat. So why is the fat not reducing there? But I have noticed in month 7 and 8 that now that I've lost the huge belly and a bit from my hips and my behind, they are starting to reduce. So hopefully at about the year mark, I'll be down a couple of cup sizes and it won't hurt my back to have these heavy breasts that I have to lug around all the time that I'd rather not. So another thing that I was not warned of that happened to me that my family had to kind of keep me in check with was the body dysmorphia you're gonna go through. And that has to do with when your body changes so fast, your eyes and what you see in the mirror does not match what is the reality and versus what's in your head. So I would be losing weight and my family would say, wow, I can see you've lost X amount of pounds and you look great. I can really see it's having an effect. And you'll look in the mirror and look exactly the same to yourself because your brain is used to seeing you looking that way. So it's a very slow process, and be aware that your brain will take time to catch up with what your eyes see as the reality. So it took, it takes a few weeks for your head to catch up and your eyes to catch up with the reality of what you see in the mirror. Also, different mirrors play different tricks. So I've chosen to use my closet mirror outside my bathroom as the main mirror to gauge, okay, how do I really look in this? How do these pants really fit? How's my pooch really coming along? Because if I go, say, to the mall and look in a mirror there, I look like a heifer still, and it just brings my self-esteem back down. So don't let other mirrors fool you. Choose your mirror where you look your best, feel your best, it's well lit, and yeah, test yourself there. I also find it's best to weigh yourself at the beginning of the day before you've consumed anything, because that's when you're at your lightest and it will have a positive impact on how you're progressing. So you'll see the biggest weight loss happen overnight to the next morning. But we need to talk about plateaus because it's not a steady decline and it's not linear by any means. For me, it's been down, plateau, down, plateau, down, plateau. So for the first big weight loss, where it's the water weight and it's the puffiness and it's the indigestion and all of that that's being shed from your body, that happens really quickly. So 20-25 pounds down in a month or two, and you feel great and you think this is a miracle drug, it's working so well, I'm gonna be at my goal weight in no time, and then you plateau. So my first plateau was at, I would say, 180, and that was, so 18 pounds down. So I, got stuck there for a few weeks and felt really shitty about myself that I wasn't moving further. And then one day you just break through the plateau by keeping with the system and trusting the system and sticking with it. And I dropped another 20 pounds in a couple of months and plateaued at 160. At 160, I was stuck there for the longest amount of time. So that was my biggest plateau, is I'm trying to get down to maybe 120. And so I was 40 pounds away from my goal weight and couldn't see it happen. So once I moved past 160, that took about 2 months, 2.5 months to kind of reduce portion sizes, increase my walking, and taking the Saxenda all together, having water instead of my sugary Starbucks. And I finally dropped from 160 down to 155, then 150, and now I'm at 148. So I plateaued at 160 for the longest time, broke through it after 2 or 3 months, and fell down through the 50s quite quickly, and now I'm at 148, which is my next plateau, and I've been there for a few weeks, and I imagine I'll stay there for another couple of months until I drop again. So you have to not lose faith when you're at a plateau thinking, oh, now it's not working, now I'm stuck at this weight, this is, the best it's gonna do. No, that is not the case. You will continue to move through those plateaus and drop, especially if you're adapting external factors like portion size, exercise, all of that, and sleeping properly, which is the thing that I'm the worst at, but getting that 8 hours of sleep is the factor that has the biggest impact on the weight loss I have found in my experience. Now, one thing I don't know is how long I'm expected to be on Saxenda. It's a question I haven't asked my endocrinologist yet because they're very quick with you. You're in for 5 minutes talking to them, then you're out. I don't know if this is a drug I'll have to be on for life to prevent diabetes, or if this is a way to reach my goal weight and reduce my blood sugar and then wean off of it eventually with healthier lifestyle habits. That's a question for my endocrinologist I haven't yet had the chance to ask. As of right now, I foresee myself being on it for a full year, so that will bring me to the end of January 2024, and then I will reevaluate. My next appointment is mid-October, so I'm gonna ask my endocrinologist then if I get a chance with him to see, you know, how long are people normally on this drug? Is it a lifetime, you know, commitment? And I can get back to you guys with an update at that point. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna show you guys how I inject it and give you some advice to make it hurt less if you're afraid of needles and all of that. I can tell you I am the same. I don't like injections, but it doesn't get easier. It's always that little fear, and it's not always just like, oh, it's a mosquito bite, as people say. Sometimes it does hurt, and it depends on where you hit in your body. Sometimes you just hit wrong, or you hit right and you don't even feel it. So let's do that together. Okay, so what I do is I take one of the needles out of the package that I showed you, and I peel back the top so it's in there. It's all sterilized and clean. I grab my pen, I take the lid off. This one has 1 dose left in it. I can just tell by how much is there. I screw it on nice and tight. It has a second protective cover there so that you can keep your fingers safe as you scroll up to 3 is my dose. Okay, so I'm gonna take this protective cap off. Now you can see the little needle there. And so what I do, and you'll see there is bruising on the belly from where the needles do go in. But what I do is I go about 2 to 3 inches below the belly button, and I squeeze the fat away from any muscles or anything like that. Try to keep this out of the way. And then I go underneath and just push very gently. And then at the bottom, you'll see the numbers decrease as it goes in. Pull it out, just give it a little rub because it might feel burning or hot. And that's it, that's all it is. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have any questions about Saxenda, just drop them down below. Just remember, I'm not a doctor, I'm not an endocrinologist. I just wanted to shed some light on the drug that I'm using that worked for me with my high blood sugar. If you're facing the same kind of issues, ask your doctor if it's right for you and let me know how it goes. If you're suffering or in the nausea stage, reach out. I can walk you through it. I can give you some pep talks and keep you on track. Have a great evening, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.